Today's lesson is More Than Monuments, My Journey Through Egypt. Hi, everyone. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're going to go traveling, and the place we're going to is Egypt. You know, that country in the Middle East there, famous for its pharaohs and pyramids and things like that. But we're going there through the eyes of a traveler. Our writer is Forrest Young, and he recently took a trip there, and he's writing all about it for us today.
Absolutely. Egypt, of course, is one of the oldest civilizations in the world. A lot of people like to visit this part of the world, sort of the Eastern Mediterranean. Of course, we have Egypt there. We also have Greece, and it's not far from the Holy Land as well. So it's a wonderful place to go. And I think for a lot of people, visiting the pyramids, seeing the Sphinx, having that experience would definitely be a bucket list item for the experienced and well-traveled world voyager. So we're very lucky if we're not actually able to go there to see it for ourselves, to read this wonderful 2-day article that will, I'm sure, give us a good sense of what it's like to visit one of the most fascinating and oldest cultures in the world, Egypt. So what do you say we get into it by checking out the first paragraph? More than monuments, my journey through Egypt. On my first morning in Cairo, I woke to the sound of echoing calls to prayer and distant horns. As a travel blogger, I aim to explore beyond the typical tourist spots, seeking unexpected moments that would reveal the city's true character.
大家好，标题中介绍名词 monument， 指纪念碑、纪念塔或是纪念馆。例如 The monument attracted visitors from all over the world. 这座纪念碑吸引了来自世界各地的游客。或者 They built a monument to honor the soldiers who died in the war. 他们建造了一座纪念碑来纪念在战争中牺牲的士兵。下一个看到名词 blogger， 意思是部落客。例如 This food blogger writes about Japanese restaurants in the city. 这位美食部落客写了有关该市日本餐厅的文章。再看一个例句 Mike is a blogger who documents local music events on his blog. Mike 是一名部落客，他在自己的部落格上记录有关当地音乐的活动。
Okay, so our traveler is beginning his journey in Cairo, and the title of our article today is More Than Monuments, My Journey Through Egypt. Okay, so we're talking about monuments here. Those are big, large structures that people build to commemorate something. There are various monuments all over the world. I'm sure there are lots of monuments, say, in Paris, or there's monuments in Mexico City, for example, and, of course, the Washington Monument in Washington, D.C. And here the word monument is probably referring to the pyramids and the Sphinx, which everybody wants to go see in Egypt.
Absolutely. But there's more to Egypt than just the monuments. A lot of people would probably not appreciate that as much as they would once they had visited there. So it's wonderful that we can kind of get behind some of the more obvious places, the top 3 or 4 places that people would visit, to find out some other places that you might want to check out should you ever find yourself in the country of Egypt. So it begins with, on my first morning in Cairo, I woke to the sound of echoing calls to prayer and distant horns. Okay, well, yes, Cairo is famously a very large, bustling, busy city. And so when you wake up in the morning in Cairo, you probably wouldn't be lucky enough to just hear the calm, quiet sound of chirping birds outside your window. You'll hear quite the loud amount of disparate various noises, the echoing calls to prayer. This would be from the local mosques, where they often have loudspeakers calling people to prayer. And for devout Muslims, they're praying several times a day. So you would hear this at different times, from the morning through midday into the evening. And also distant horns. I don't think these are people like blowing horns. These are car horns, because Egypt is very famous for its very hectic traffic. It's a busy city. There's always a lot going on, but it's not a quiet, peaceful place. And then he continues and says, as a travel blogger, I aim to explore beyond the typical tourist spots, seeking unexpected moments that would reveal the city's true character. Well, that's great because it also gives us, the reader, a chance to sort of see beyond the typical tourist spots through the experiences of this travel blogger, the experiences and the words of the blogger, because that's what a blogger is. It's basically a writer who writes things that are posted on the internet. So they're not writing for a travel column for a newspaper or a magazine or something like that. They're writing in their own blog, in their own sort of personal online diary. And we can have bloggers who do all sorts of stuff. You could be a health blogger writing about the latest vitamins or health trends. You could be an exercise blogger, a tech blogger writing about the newest developments in AI or computers or something. But these travel bloggers, if you're lucky enough to do it, you can travel around the world and earn money through writing about your travel experiences on your electronic or your web-based diary.
So that's what Forrest does here. He's a travel blogger. So because I'm a travel blogger, I aimed to explore beyond the typical tourist spots. So, of course, lots of people go to the typical tourist spots, the ones that everybody goes to, like the pyramids, like the Sphinx or whatever. And he says he wants to explore beyond those typical tourist spots. He's seeking unexpected moments that would reveal the city's true character. So he wants to find something different so that his YouTube videos or whatever, or his Instagram posts are different and unique, and he'll get lots of followers and lots of likes, and of course make a lot of money as a result, so he can continue to finance his travels. Okay, let's move on now to the second part and find out where he goes in Cairo and Egypt.
I headed first for Makatam Hills, a district known for its sweeping views, and the Church of St. Simon the Tanner, an amazing structure carved directly into the rock. The area is also home to the Zabaleen, a resourceful community of Coptic Christians who sustain themselves through Cairo's recycling industry. Though their lives are tough, their resilience is inspiring. Beyond the church's biblical reliefs, I was charmed by the district's vivid street art, the clang of workshops, and the genuine warmth of greetings in the narrow streets.
第二部分看到名词 district 表示区或是区域，例如 The shopping district in the city is always crowded on weekends. 这座城市的购物区周末总是人山人海。再来看到动词 carve， 它的意思是雕刻或是刻写，例如 Craftsmen carved floral designs into the wooden doors. 工匠们在木门上刻出花朵的图案。也可以说Travis decided to carve his name into the old oak tree beside his house. Travis 决定把自己的名字刻在他老家旁边的老橡树上。下一个介绍形容词 resourceful， 指足智多谋的或是机智的。例如 Ancient societies that lacked good building materials had to be more resourceful and use what was available. 缺乏优质建筑材料的古代社会必须更加足智多谋，充分利用现有资源。接下来介绍形容词 inspiring， 表示鼓舞人心的或是激励的。我们可以说 My dad is an inspiring person, and I want to be like him when I grow up. 我爸爸是一位能激励人心的人，我长大后想成为像他一样。又或者说 The inspiring words of the coach encouraged Betty to train harder. 教练鼓舞人心的话，激励 Betty 更加努力训练。后面看到 genuine 这个单字，它是形容词，意思是真诚的。例如 Although Natalie doubted Bob's reasons for helping us, he showed genuine concern about our situation. 尽管 Natalie 怀疑 Bob 帮助我们的理由，他对我们的处境仍展现出真诚的关心。再看一个例子 While visiting her friend in the hospital, Amy showed genuine concern for his well-being. 在医院探望朋友时 Amy 对他的健康状况表现出了真诚的关心。
Okay, so in the second part of our article here, it says, I headed first for Makatam Hills, and that's a district known for its sweeping views and the Church of St. Simon the Tanner, An amazing structure carved directly into the rock. Okay, so this is where he went first. He headed for this place. If you head for a certain place, you just start going there. I'm heading to Taichung this weekend. I'm going to have a lot of fun there, seeing friends and listening to live music and stuff like that. And here he headed for Makatam Hills. What is this? Well, it's a district known for its sweeping views. Okay, a district, of course, is an area that has certain things. Of course, in cities we have like shopping districts or residential districts or business districts, etc. And this is a district or a part of the city that is famous because it has sweeping views. So you must be able to go up on top of those hills and have nice views of Cairo. And also you can see the Church of St. Simon the Tanner, which is an amazing structure carved directly into the rock. So, of course, a church is a religious structure for the Christian religion. In this particular case, it is not a freestanding structure. It's actually carved right into the rock. Okay, so if you take pieces away from wood or from rock or whatever to make some sort of shape or to make some sort of sculpture, you are carving into that thing.
Absolutely. Grab a hammer and a chisel and be very patient and work very hard, and eventually you can create kind of a cave structure inside the rock, but in a man-made way, and that's how they built this probably very ancient church. And also, I think in a hot country like Egypt, carving structures out of rock allows it to be a little bit cooler inside, which of course be a nice side benefit. It says the area is also home to the Zabaleen, a resourceful community of Coptic Christians who sustain themselves through Cairo's recycling industry. Very, very interesting. So this is an area, this is part of the city of Cairo. We might also call it a neighborhood of the city of Cairo. And there live the Zabaleen, and these are resourceful people, or it's a resourceful community of Coptic Christians. Coptic is a branch of Christianity that I believe is very, very old. It goes back to some of the first Christians, and it's largely centered in sort of northeastern Africa and in Egypt and places like that. But their sort of connection to the Christian faith and religion goes way back, many, many thousands of years to just after the time of Christ. And so these people are very resourceful. Of course, if you've been living for a long time in a part of the world, you've been through ups and downs and had good times and bad. And if the community there is still strong and holding on and doing well, they must have been quite resourceful at different times, meaning they've used the things around them, the resources around them, to help their lives, to sustain their lives in tough times and to improve their lives when they've been able to. So if you're a resourceful person, it kind of means you're independent, you're on your own, you're not always asking other people for help or other people to do things for you. You're a self-contained unit. You can stand on your own 2 feet. You can take care of yourself in good times or bad. And of course, Egypt being a Muslim country, they've been a minority in that country, a religious minority in that country for a long, long time, but they're still there. So they're holding on, they're doing okay, and they sustain themselves through Cairo's recycling industry. So they sort of maintain this position in the economy of Cairo, dealing with recycling, dealing with garbage collection and sorting through plastic and metal and all that kind of stuff. And that's how they've sustained themselves. That is clearly a resourceful type of people doing work that others might not want to do, but is absolutely necessary for the healthy running of the city, dealing with recycling and garbage collection and stuff like that. So they've sustained themselves. To sustain is to keep yourself alive in a very real way for these people, but it's also just to keep things going. Like a company needs income, needs money coming in to sustain itself. Otherwise, you'll go out of business or go bankrupt. People, we need food to sustain our lives, right? To sustain our bodies. We need to eat food to have energy to live, to sustain ourselves, to continue to carry on, to do the things that we need to do. So this community has sustained themselves for a long time, kind of on the edges of Cairo society and on the city as well, literally.
Yep, they basically support themselves by handling recyclable items, as you said, plastic, paper, or whatever. So that's how they continue to survive. And though their lives are tough, even though their lives are difficult, their resilience is inspiring, okay? So yes, it is true that they are living tough lives, very difficult lives, because they have to work on recycling. They're doing things that people don't normally want to do. But we can respect them for their resilience, which means they're basically able to keep coming back despite their setbacks. They just keep on trying. They keep moving forward. They're very resilient, you could say. They don't quit. They just keep moving forward. And, of course, their resilience is inspiring. We can look at them as role models. Hey, even though they're recycling things that people don't really want to do, you still have to respect them for their hard work and their ability to sustain themselves.
And back to that church that we were visiting, beyond the church's biblical reliefs, I was charmed by the district's vivid street art, the clang of workshops, and the genuine warmth of greetings in the narrow streets. So these are other things that our traveler experienced and witnessed in this neighborhood. The biblical reliefs inside the church. A relief would be kind of like a carving on the walls as decoration. Since it's a stone-built church, it might be hard to paint things on the walls or hang pictures on the walls. So they've actually carved pictures and stuff into the walls in the same way that many of the ancient pyramids also have carvings in there. So that's a beautiful ancient type of art to experience and appreciate. And he was also charmed by the district's vivid street art. So this might be more modern sort of wall painting, almost like graffiti or something like that. They have a lot of art in different corners of this neighborhood. Also, you hear the clang of workshops. That clang, that sort of recreating a sound, clang, clang, like two pieces of metal hitting each other. You know, when I think of clang, I might think of the noises you would hear in a blacksmith place where they're making horseshoes, or in a steel factory or something like that. Large, heavy things bashing together, making this sound, this clang of metal on metal, and the genuine warmth of the people, the greetings from the people in the narrow streets. When we talk about genuine, it's real, it's authentic, it's not faked, it's not artificial. Warmth of people is their friendliness, so they're really, really friendly. They're not just friendly because you're a tourist who might spend some money. They're friendly because, hey, welcome to our place. Where are you from? It's really nice to meet you. Let us show you around. They really made him feel at home and feel welcome in a very real, honest, true kind of way. So that must have been a really nice and very unique experience. I've never heard of this neighborhood from people who visited Egypt. All right, so that's the second paragraph here. We have one more, and we're going to be leaving Cairo a little bit and traveling down to a very famous dam. So let's check that out next. The next morning, I flew to Aswan and boated to Agilkia Island. There, the ancient temple of Isis rises majestically from the Nile. The temple, once located on another island nearby, was relocated stone by stone after the Aswan High Dam's construction to prevent it from being flooded. Today, it stands as a powerful testament to Egypt's delicate balance between preserving history and embracing modern development.
第三部分介绍副词 majestically， 指的是雄伟壮丽的、巍然的或是威严的。举例来说 ，The mountain range rose majestically against a clear blue sky。那座山脉在湛蓝的天空下，雄伟壮丽的屹立着。
All right, here's the last part of our lesson for today. It says, the next morning, I flew to Aswan and boated to Agilkia Island. Okay, so these, of course, are some places kind of far away from Cairo, but he flew there. He took a plane there to these two places, and one place he went to not by plane, but he went there by boat. Here, boat is being used as a verb. He took a boat to Agilkia Island, and there the ancient temple of Isis rises majestically from the Nile. Okay, so of course, as you know, there are various figures from Egyptian history with the pharaohs and things like that. We've got Isis there, and they have a temple there to commemorate her, and this temple rises majestically from the Nile. So if something's majestic, that means it has great beauty, it has great dignity, it looks like something that is worthy of being to commemorate a king or something like that. So majestically is an adverb here. It rises in this form like it's a big castle or a big palace or something like that. And of course, it's right next to the Nile River, which of course is the famous river in Egypt.
Absolutely. Large, impressive, and probably very beautiful too. When we think of majestic, it will both make you go, wow, that's impressive, and gosh, that's really beautiful as well. Like the Eiffel Tower might be described as being very majestic. It's huge, but also absolutely lovely to look at. And this is an interesting story. The temple, once located on another island nearby, was relocated stone by stone after the Aswan High Dam's construction to prevent it from being flooded. flooded. So they actually took the temple apart stone by stone or piece by piece, as if you're deconstructing a Lego building, and then relocated. They moved it to another place to get it off this island. It was first built long ago on this little island in the middle of the Nile River, which of course used to flood every year. That's how the ancient Egyptians were able to have such a strong and long-lasting civilization there. But then when they built the dam, the construction of the dam would prevent the Nile from flooding, but it created large lakes. And I guess this temple would have been covered by one of these lakes or reservoirs created from the dam. So they took it apart piece by piece and moved it over to the side of the river or some higher ground so that it wouldn't be flooded. That must have been quite a job. Today, it says it stands as a powerful testament to Egypt's delicate balance between preserving history and embracing modern development. So the temple, it stands as a powerful testament, sort of proof or something. A testament is when you sort of speak in favor of someone or you do something that shows the importance of something. Often when people are giving a speech in praise of someone, that's a testament to them. Or maybe after they die, if they write a story about the person in the local paper talking about all the great things they did and all the lives they touched with their wonderful works, that's kind of a testament to something. So it's showing how something important and how respected it is. And this is a testament to modern Egypt's delicate balance between preserving this ancient history and also embracing modern development. Now, when you think the Aswan Dam, it's not that old. It was built to generate electricity, but to kind of have modern technology there with this hydroelectric dam, but also preserving these ancient buildings, there's a delicate balance. Something delicate is easily broken, it's easily disturbed. When we talk about a delicate balance, that means things are even and equal, but a little bit on one side could throw things into confusion and chaos once again. If North Korea and South Korea sit down for peace talks, there could be a very delicate negotiations going on there. One wrong word could make everything suddenly turn bad. So this is a delicate balance. You don't want to knock down the temples, but you also want to move into the modern world, and that's the challenge that countries like Egypt face every day.
Okay, it's time now to finish our lesson by listening to Hanny, our Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第二部分，作者提到他首先前往穆卡塔姆山区这个区域，那么文中用到单字 district 来表达区或是区域，它也有行政区的意思。那我们这边来学它的字首字根，看到 strict 或者是 strain 或者是 stress 这一类字根，它有绑、束缚或是拉直或拉紧的语义，带有压力达到最极致的意思。那在 district 这个字当中，它的字首 dis 表示分开， strict 表示拉紧。那划分行政区其实就是分开一区一区各自管辖、各自管束。同学们也许可以用这样的方式去联想 district， 它有行政区或是区域的意思。顺便补充两个有这一类字根的单字，第一个是constrain， 它的字首 con 表示一起，字根 strain 表示拉紧。那当我们用绳子把东西绑住，然后把这个绳子两端一起拉紧，用这个画面也许可以联想到 constrain， 它有束缚或是限制的意思。第二个补充的是 distress， 它的字首 dis， 因为碰到 s 开头的字根而变形成为 di， 那这个字首表示分离，字根 stress 表示拉紧。那同学们可以试着想象你所拥有的东西被强拉走，被迫分离而造成了痛苦。那用这样的方式去联想说 distress 它有悲伤痛苦的意思。好，在课文第三部分，作者介绍了伊西斯神庙，并提到它是埃及在保存历史和拥抱现代发展之间微妙平衡的有力证明。文中用到名词 testament 是指证明或是见证，它是由字根 test 表示见证，加上名词字尾 ment 组合而来。那我们就来介绍一下 test 这个字根。这个字根它带有 witness 的意思，表示见证人啊、证物或是证词。那一些法律名词像 testimony 证词或是 testify 作证等等，都可以看出有证明的语义。我们这边也补充几个带有这个字根的单字。第一个 protest， 它的字首 pro 表示往前，字根 test 表示证明。那同学们可以试着用挺身向前证明自己的清白，或是挺身向前证明自己的论点，去联想说 protest 它有反对抗议的意思。第二个补充的是 contest， 它的字首 con 表示一起，字根 test 表示见证。在法律诉讼的这种攻防战里，提告跟被告双方都需要召唤证人。那我们从这个场景去联想说 contest， 它当动词会念作 contest， 当动词它有争辩啊、抗辩、竞争、争取的意思。当名词念作 contest， 会有竞争、比赛的意思。好，那以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Monument. This park has a monument that was built to honor the soldiers who fought in World War II. District. The city's historic district is known for its charming atmosphere. Carve. Brian used a knife to carve his name in a piece of wood. Sustain. Annette has worked hard to sustain her family's business during challenging times. Inspiring. The book was an inspiring story about one woman's fight for equal rights. Genuine. Mr. Wolf's genuine interest in his students' success has made him a highly respected teacher. Delicate. The contract discussions are at a delicate stage, so we need to choose our words carefully.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Roger.
I am Mike.
See you next time.